Hey YouTube, it's Chris here with Almost Precision. Tonight we're going to be setting up our 9mm reloading dies. I wanted to show you guys just how to set up dies. Very basic, very simple. If you've never reloaded before, hopefully this is some good information for you. If you have reloaded before, then this will be kind of redundant. Yeah, so let's get to it. So first things first, we're setting up the decapping die and sizing die. And very simply, we're going to take our shell holder, put it in, run the ram all the way up, and then we're just going to bring the decapping die down till it touches. Alright, bring you guys in there so you can see the decapping die is touching the shell holder. Now what we're going to do from here, not let the tripod fall. Alright, what we're going to do from here is bring the ram down a little bit, give this another half turn or so, and lock it in. And then we're gonna go in here, see if I can get this to zoom into the spot that I want it to. We're gonna check the decapping pin, the actual decapping pin, and make sure it goes deep enough to actually pop the primer out. This one looks like it's set pretty well, so let's give it a shot. We're gonna need a spare case anyways to set up the other dies. Yep, pop the primer out. Looking good. All right. So I forgot to mention, when you do take the die off, sometimes you'll have a locking ring or a set screw that you can tighten on there. These don't. They do have a little O-ring there that'll help put it back into the right spot. But you want to double check every time, after you take them off and put them back in, that they're in the right position so you can get a fully sized die and decap it every time you run it through. So next we have the belling die. Now I don't always use these, but I have it now, so we're going to use it. And this time we're going to insert the shell, run the ram all the way up, and then begin screwing it in. And I'm going to go ahead now and move this O-ring up because it's getting in the way and giving me some false tensioning of the die, because right now we need to feel for tension as we screw it down. So we're bringing it in right there. Alright, I can feel it. It's making contact with the case. Now we're going to bring the ram down, go another half turn, and lock it in. And this should give us just enough flare on the case. Let's see if you guys can see. Alright. Should give us just enough flare on the case to barely start sitting the bullet in there. So this is not enough flare yet. The bullet's not going in. So we're gonna loosen it up, give it another half turn, lock it back in, and we'll see what we get. Ram it up. This is gonna be a bit of trial and error here. So we're just barely starting to flare it out enough. Another half turn. Flare is definitely more noticeable. And just barely enough. I'm gonna see how it sits in there. Now, this is a bad example since this is a hollow point, but it's just enough to get it started. And if you're gonna chamfer this, then it ought to be good. But I don't intend on chamfering this, so there's another quarter turn. Ram it up, bring it out. Alright, I like how that's sitting in there now. Alright, and again, if you had a set screw, you'd lock it in. If not, this one has that O-ring. So hopefully I can get it back to the same position next time. Also, a lot of new presses, they'll have, in the Lee's case, the breech lock system. So you can just remove this whole sleeve with it. Or I believe Hornaday has something similar. I don't know what they call theirs, or maybe Hornaday has the breech lock system, I don't know. But you can just buy multiple sleeves and leave the die in the sleeve so it's always set into position. Except in this last case of the seating die. So with the seating die, again we'll need the case. The seating die is going to change for every bullet. Obviously every projectile is going to have a different overall length, and you need to be aware of that. So now I'm just tightening this down until I feel the crimp start to touch the case. And I'm barely on it right now. And you can see the die just kind of stops turning there. So I'm going to bring the ram back down, and we're going to go another half a turn or so. We're going to lock it in right there. Now that should be an adequate crimp. We'll see. And again, this case is going to be sacrificial. This is going to be a dummy round so that we can easily get back to similar settings once we're done. Like let's say we change projectiles, like I want to go with a jacketed round nose instead of these 115 grain haps. Hornady action pistol hollow points. Then I can just take this dummy round and run it up in here until the die stops, and we'll more or less be set. So for now, we're gonna retract the seating rod up on top here, since the die is already locked in for the crimp. And it's pretty well retracted right now, so let's run this up and see how far it seats it. Okay, so with the seating plug retracted, the die set for our crimp, we're gonna run this up, and we can see that it's barely seated the bullet. So we're gonna start bringing it in, little by little, till we think we're close. All right, we're getting close now. This is the point where you reference your manual. In this case, I'm using the Hornady 9th edition. And it says the COL for the XTPs, which are the same as the HAPs that I'm using here, is 1.075. So at this point you get your calipers. And what do we got? 1.08. So we're real close right now. And this is where we get very incremental here. We're gonna just quarter turn by quarter turn, since we're so close. And we're gonna check. And if you mess this up, well, that's why this is a dummy round. Or you can try pulling it and starting over again. Again, quarter turn by quarter turn. Checking it every time. Ooh, just a little over. 1.076. Well, I'm gonna call that good. 1/1000th, that's pretty darn good. And just to make sure, you can take your barrel. In this case, it's a Glock 19 barrel. Pop it in there. So that overall length, 1.076, will work for my barrel. And at that point, you'll get some tools and you'll lock it in here, and you'll lock it in here, and you're set. Again, this will change with every bullet, every projectile you try to load, but this dummy round will get me very close, very fast, and make this process very repeatable. So again, this was Chris with Almost Precision. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.